Okay, all right, we're live. The light's on, the numbers are crunching away. I get a zippy on the vocals. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Verde Arbusto. This is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for being here. If you're new, first, I want to thank you for being here. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. The more interaction you have with the channel, the higher up it percolates their algorithm, and the more you are likely to see the videos and the notifications as it comes up. A lot of people say, oh, I didn't get the notification. Okay, well, when was the last time you commented on a video or came over or whatever? So it depends on you doing your part to make sure that the videos stay percolating up in your algorithm as well of your recommendeds. And if you haven't heard anything from a channel, a YouTube channel, in a while, go over and see what's going on over there. Maybe they got some videos and you don't know. And that'll help keep them relevant as well. And that's just a public service to the YouTube community. Thank you for being here. And if you are already currently subscribed, please remember to check to make sure you are subscribed and hit the little notification bell for the all notification that you'll get all the notifications. So that when I do a premiere or live stream, you'll get a notification. It's simple. You got to interact in order to get the information percolating up. All right, so with that said, the 2-minute introduction. This is part two. I've already done like 50 minutes, I think, on the other introduction, the previous part one on this, and so it would just make sense for me to get into this material since I've already done, I've already said everything I needed to say previous to this. So the link to part one will be in the description. So go and check that out, and this will kind of catch you up to where I'm at right now. And basically, in a nutshell, I'm looking to change direction of the channel, the YouTube and the Facebook commitments, so that it's not exclusively Schumann resonances. In many cases, just as a review of the first video, in many cases, I've kind of, I don't want to say dismissed, but I've been able to kind of give it a very simple brush over in a lot of cases of saying that's outside of the Schumann resonances. It has more to do with atmospheric electromagnetics in general, of, say, your cell phone, unshielded domestic electronics around you. Most of the domestic electronics around you are unshielded. How do you know if yours is unshielded? Well, if yours are like most of it's covered in plastic, it's probably not shielded. Microwaves are, most of them, I think, are covered in a metal case. So that's shielded, okay? A lot of times receivers, stereo receivers, they have a metal case. Those are shielded. All right, your cell phone with a plastic case, your like this HP laptop that I'm using, all plastic, covered in plastic, okay? That's not shielded. All right, so how do you know? If it's plastic, it's unshielded. If it's cased in metal, it's shielded. Fairly simple, okay. So I've made the point before previously to tell people that the ringing and the vertigo, and there's a suite of symptoms that come with that. The ringing, the vertigo, the nausea, and the headaches. Frontal headaches, though, there's a difference. Not all headaches are the same. Those four kind of interrelated symptoms, I have said, yeah, those are related to electromagnetics, and that's not your DNA switching on, right? That's in a whole nother thing altogether. That's what ascension is the DNA switching on, which can take a long time, depending on how stubborn you are, how set you are with the way things are now. That's how long it's going to take for your DNA to stitch back together. This is all will, this is all free choice, and if you want to stay right where you are, you ain't going nowhere. It's that simple. Okay, so I've made mention that the ringing and a lot of the things that people put on the Schumann resonances is not properly the Schumann resonances, okay, in general, but specifically the ones that you can tack down to electromagnetics, the vertigo, and the ringing, like I said, that's still not Schumann resonances. So there are some basic health risks, I don't want to call it risks, but health concerns that are related to the Schumann resonances. However, not all atmospheric electromagnetics are Schumann resonances, and this is really the point of where I'm going with this, and this is where I'm at in the journey of my frustration of seeing how far I can absolutely just get twisted on what people say, trying to pin on the Schumann resonances when it just is not Schumann resonances. So my guides have suggested to me, I've explored pretty much, I don't want to say everything, but the majority of shit you need has already been dealt with. So at this point, it's time to kind of switch gears and deal with things head on with a lot of the problems people are having that are related to atmospheric electromagnetics, non-Schumann related. Okay, so that's sort of where I'm going with this, to make it more applicable to people relative to non-Schumann related, which is where the majority of people's problems are coming from. Not Schumann, right? The majority of people's problems are coming from not Schumann. Meaning, the Schumann is not causing the majority of people's problems. The Schumann, as you might think of whatever you got in your head of the Schumann following the spectrogram, right? Or the Schumann resonances as an actual thing, are they themselves not, in many cases, causing your wacky symptoms, okay? And certainly, as I have said before, you can't, ascribe symptoms to the environmental electromagnetics until you've cleared your house, your local house where you live, where you sleep, of all of the unshielded electromagnetics. Okay, so on a number of fronts, there are issues of associated electromagnetics that are non-Schumann related that need to be dealt with. And I'm tired of trying to filter everything through the Schumann resonances when a lot of it does not actually apply. I don't know how to put it any better than that. A lot of the concerns and stuff that people have isn't actually related to, is not based on the Schumann, or it's not Schumann related, or it's even loosely or very loosely related, in that it has to do with the IMF, the interplanetary magnetic field, right? Like, they're different circuits. They're just different circuits. So this is where I'm at, in part to help me with my frustration. I ask my guides, help me, give me a direction here. What do I need to do? So this is after after a group committee meeting with my guides. They gave me a new plan of attack for my life, but it's something that is supposed to help people out more than just the Schumann resonances. Okay, I think that's the best way to put it. So I'm going to get into this right now. I'm at the 8-minute, 8:08 right now. So this is a good place to pause. I'm going to have a drink. Before I get into this, let me have a drink, clear my throat, and it's a good place to pause so that you as well can have a cigarette. Granted, I'm not pausing it during the premiere, okay, but people watch this after the premiere, so now is a good point to pause for a cigarette or a drink, which is what I'm going to do. So I will meet you back here shortly. Okay, back to work. All right. Once again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. If you just got here, thanks for showing up. This is part 2. Okay, part 2 officially starting at 9 minutes. All right. What does atmospheric electromagnetics cover? All right. When I say it'll branch out into associated atmospheric electromagnetics, okay, let's just deal with what is atmospheric electromagnetics. So in general, what is the atmospheric electromagnetics? Because some are not even necessarily associated with the Schumann resonances. Your cell phone, 5G, CERN, LHC at CERN, and the other one, the heater, the atmospheric heater. There's a number of atmospheric electromagnetics that are not associated with the Schumann resonances that don't. What I'm saying is they don't show up on the Schumann resonance data, except maybe sporadically at certain times, but regularly are not showing up on the Schumann resonances data because of where the Schumann resonances are in the scheme of things and the strength and intensity of the Schumann resonances. It's important to remember the majority of associated electromagnetics around you are a lot more powerful than the Schumann resonances. That's part of the reason why I need to do this, to talk about this, is that people confuse the Schumann with associated electromagnetics all the time and don't realize the difference in strength and magnitude between the Schumann resonances, which are very subtle. It's like a whisper. Schumann resonances are like a whisper. Whereas the majority of electromagnetics around you, whether it's the planet itself, whether it's an IMF field, or whether it's your laptop or your cell phone, are all of that is 1,000 times stronger than the Schumann resonances, and that is why it's extremely important, why they told me to do this, why it's extremely important for you to know the difference between the very humble, lowly Schumann resonances and all of the other stuff that is so much more powerful than it, that it's almost to the point you don't even really notice the Schumann resonances anymore, but you're afflicted by all the rest of this other stuff. And it just happens to be convenient that the phrase, the Schumann, is able to be thrown out into conversation with people indiscriminately. And there's a lot of confusion between what the Schumann resonances actually are and what they're doing, and all the rest of everything else that you're poisoning yourselves with. I don't know a better way to put it than that. It's important to know what comes with the world, what stays with the world, what belongs to the Earth and the planet and the planetary globe, and what you're poisoning yourself with. Which might also include the MRIs of the hospital, right? CAT scan, MRI, there's a list of those, the medical radiation they feed you with, whole nother thing altogether, okay? The MRIs, the CAT scans, all the medical stuff, okay? That's not even anything I'm discussing here, but that falls under. I haven't even gotten into the discussion here, but all of that medically related, right? I'm dismissing the medically related atmospheric electromagnetic. That's a mouthful. The medically related atmospheric electromagnetics. I'm dismissing that before we even get into it, because this is not a medical kind of thing. I've never dealt with medical problems here. I've only dealt with the problems related to you as an electric circuit and you not grounding as an electric circuit into the electric grid of the Earth. That's all I've ever dealt with as a technician, looking at you as an electric circuit. That's all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing doctor. I'm a technician. I'd otherwise be working on bicycles, which may or may not even be electric bicycles for that matter. All right, so back to the text. Onward and upward. So all that having been said as a disclaimer, which isn't on here, just as my disclaimer, what am I doing? Okay, I'm suspecting the first issue to be tackled is the difference between VLF seismic monitoring and dedicated Schumann resonance detection. I've said this in my videos. I've made videos on this. I've placed it in comments in my channel and in other people's channel. The difference between the VLF monitoring and Schumann resonance detection, and the phrases they use should give you a little clue there. Monitoring versus detection, as in detecting being, where are they? Are they here? Right? Whisper. Schumann resonances are a whisper. You have to detect whisper. You yourself have to be very quiet to detect whisper. Okay? That's the Schumann resonances. Right? The rest of everything else that you're dealing with is the yelling of the electromagnetics that's really causing you problems. So I have commented in a number of places, and wherever it's been publicly out there where people have confused it, I've commented. My Facebook, on my YouTube, both of the Facebooks, all the Facebooks I'm on, where they post the Cumiana results and call it the Schumann resonances. That's a substitute for the Schumann resonances. People call that completely different, totally different altogether, different things altogether. Yet it's enough of a substitute for people who don't know any different, right? So this is the first issue to be tackled with that I have tackled. I made videos. I'll brush them off and throw them on the new channel. First and foremost is the difference between Cumiana and Tomsk. Okay, Cumiana is not just a town in Italy. Tomsk is not just a town in Russia. They are two different protocols altogether. And so this is one of the things that we'll be dealing with. Among other things, first and foremost, there's a Cumiana issue. As I've pointed out repeatedly, Cumiana, Italy, measures a range of VLF signals in addition to seismic meters for the express intention of earthquake detection. Okay? Cumiana is one of a group of sites in Italy that are geared toward monitoring VLF. They don't just, they're not detecting, they're monitoring VLF signals, as well as, in addition to the seismic meter that come with, that they have shown on the on their the website. Okay, they post results. Hold on, let me see if I can even pull this up for you. Okay, I found it really quick. As I've shown you before, this is the Cumiana report, which is giving you right here. This is the seismic information, and this is recent, by the way. This is today. Hopefully, is it today? Yeah, the 15th. They're giving you the 15th here. All right. So this is the seismic meter as well as the VLF, which is the amplitude, the electric channel. Okay, these right here. So this is measuring a different data set than Tomsk is. Cumiana right here is measuring a different data set than Tomsk for the specific reason that Cumiana is measuring the seismic waves that are attached to the amplitude. There's a whole school of study on all of this. I'm not getting into it right now. I've explained this before. I'll explain it more in the future. It's probably one of the things I'm going to do on the new channel is give you a better breakdown of Cumiana than I could or otherwise would have done here on the Schumann Resonance. Although I have done videos on that, blah, 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 blah. All right. So, so this is what I wanted to show you with Cumiana, that it's not Schumann resonance data because they have the seismic. They're measuring seismic, and it's not measured in the modes, which is how Tomsk measures, which is the standard for measuring electro and magnetics together, are these mode things, the colors of the Tomsk thing that everyone has no idea what it means. It's the modes, which are the connection between the electric and the magnetic side of the signal. So Cumiana is not a substitute for Tomsk. People look at it, they see it that way, they'll throw it in there, blah, 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 whatever. People just want a spike to attach a physical something to anyway. That's the majority of what people are here for. So they just need a spike, some kind of spike that, oh, that's where my headache came from, or just any spike. This is how the way people are interpreting this, the religion of Schumannism, the ascensionism thing. They just, oh, that's, I get some kind of spike, a headache or whatever, indigestion, nausea, flatulence. Oh, there's a spike was around that time. So yeah, though that's what it was. So the majority of people are just here to attach a spike to some physical ailment. Okay. So that's not what I'm doing. That's not what this is about. This is about telling you that that's not what's happening in all of this. So let me get back to the text. All right, so in a nutshell, like I've said, Cumiana and the Italian network is set up to help save lives, based on the ability to predict earthquakes. Okay, just let's really kind of understand this very substantial point that Cumiana is doing this to save people's lives. Okay, right? They're not doing this because they think that some great awakening is happening or they're some woke bullshit corporation. No, They're trying to save people's lives with the detection and the seismic metering. This isn't difficult to understand. This is a much different purpose than to give you the educational model of the Schumann resonance. That's what Tomsk does, is it gives you an educational model. It's not a crystal ball. Tomsk is not giving you the sacred gospel of Schumann and Ascensionist bullshit doctrine, right? You got to understand that. Tomsk is giving you an educational model so you understand how the Schumann resonances work. That's it. They're not predicting a timeline jumping. Please, give me a break. Please. This is part of why it's important to have these type of channels so people understand technically what's happening from the accepted engineering, standard technical protocol of what's already happening, right? If you're new into the Schumann resonances, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not figuring this out yourself here. You need help. I'm glad to help you as much as I can, but you can't go making stuff up and then calling it science because you're using someone's spectrogram and then saying, oh, well, hey, this mysterious thing on the spectrogram proves what I'm saying. Not only that there with the Schumann resonances, but the same thing with all of the rest of the data, which is what we get into with the atmospheric electromagnetics and all of the other stuff, like I showed you, Cumiana, that you may not know how to read properly. It's part of what I'm doing this for. All the other I have here on my, really quick, I have here, you see up here, this is my browser, this is Brave browser. All of these up here, right? We go through them, you see, these are all things that I would like to invariably, you see these? Invariably, I would like to talk to you about these things because a lot of them do not necessarily have to do with the Schumann resonances, but they may be related to atmospheric electromagnetics. So if you can see the cursor moving up there at the top over there somewhere, you see all of this stuff is potentially, and some of this is my blog, this is all theoretically stuff that is not Schumann resonances yet that falls under the category of atmospheric electromagnetics that I really kind of need to get into. That's not Schumann resonances proper. So one of the reasons that's important to know this, and I'm doing this, is so that people understand the Cumiana, why they're doing this, and that they actually have a seismic component with it. They're not just measuring the atmospheric electromagnetics. They're measuring the they're measuring the electromagnetics of the Earth proper, and not the Schumann resonances, which is just the sky. Big difference between what they're doing. You can't substitute it. If you're ignorant and you call the Schumann resonances the Earth's heartbeat, you're not going to be able to tell the difference one from another. Okay, Cumiana equals the Schumann resonances because you see spikes and peaks that you can put a headache on. Okay, again, this is what the majority of people are here learning the Schumann resonances for, is just to associate their malady, physical malady, with some spike that's on a chart somewhere. Okay, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to give you the more accepted engineering way of looking at this. Okay. And again, understanding that Cumiana in Italy is doing this to save lives for earthquakes is extremely important. They're not doing it out of some goodwill to let you know the current state of the world or any of that. That doesn't figure anywhere into the millions of dollars they spent on earthquake detection to save lives in the country. I just want you to know that. As I have repeatedly mentioned, the Earth's internal telluric currents are not the Schumann resonances. The interplanetary magnetic field is not the Schumann resonances as well. Earth's geoelectric power grid operates at a much higher strength than the Schumann resonances. And we're talking of a factor of at least 1,000, closer to like 50 or 60,000, or maybe 100,000. Okay, factor of 100,000. Some of your atmospheric electromagnetics are more powerful than the Schumann resonances. Domestic electronics operate at a much higher strength than the Schumann Resonance series, which is in the pico range. I've showed this before. On one of my live things I got a reading of 49 nanoteslas for my laptop. As I was doing a live stream, 49 nanoteslas, whereas the Schumann Resonance's signals are in the pico. And in some cases, it was 20 pico electron volts, which were, or Teslas, I'm sorry, pico Teslas, measuring magnetics. So the chart that day, actually, hold on. Okay, so I'll give you a physical illustration here of what I'm saying. The quality, this is picotesla, okay? All right. So my laptop here, the one I use every day, was I've had it up to 61. I've measured it up to 61 nanotesla. The time I was doing the live stream was at 49 nanotesla, okay? This is picotesla, okay? And look at that. The highest on here is 26. So my laptop, we'll just say 50, okay? My laptop was 50 at that day, rounded up to 50. Half of that would be 25 nanotesla, okay? This is the pico. Schumann resonances are in the pico range, which is 1,000 times weaker than the nano. And the nano is not very strong in itself. You got to realize that. That's like -9 zeros or some shit, right? However, this is 1,000 times weaker already, and it's half of what my laptop was at 26 here, and this is the strongest out of all of them. This is, I'm not even good with math, but it's 1,000. It's like 2,000, if I'm not mistaken. This is 2,000. My laptop is 2,000 times stronger than this here. If I've done the math correctly, 50 nanotesla is 1,000, and then the double that is, like, all right, I'm not good with math, but you understand what I'm saying. Like this, and this is the strongest, and this is a peak right here. Most of this is all operating at the lowest, right? And this one here, the high point of this is what, 8.5, and it's barely, it goes there, right there, hit it there. Most of this is 6.4 pico Tesla. My laptop is doing 49 nanotesla, okay? I just want to give you a size of scale and reference of putting a human next to like a mountain. So you get a size of scale of the difference between the strength and what's really truly coming at you, and how maybe you, but the rest of everyone around you, has misidentified the electromagnetics of the atmosphere and calling, a spade a heart, as you were. That expression, call a spade, I'm not sure where that comes from. Don't get offended if it's, some racial shit. I don't know. But, and cards comes from playing cards, right? Call a spade, as it were. You have to call it as you see it. And that's kind of what we're talking about. I'm not imagining this. I'm not making it up. I have the data. And you need to see the data so you yourself are not freaking out and imagining shit that it isn't and calling it the Schumann resonances when it's not. All right. Let me get my learning. Where am I? Hold on. Hopefully system processing. Let me get the pause. Okay, I'm back. All right. Back to the text. All right. So the pico range. All right. So I've read that. All right. So here's an operating principle. Calling all of the radiations the property of the Schumann. Okay, calling all electromagnetics. God, are you freaking kidding me? Calling all of the associated electromagnetics the Schumann resonances is not a good thing, because it doesn't deal with the problem. Right? For the sake of convenience, if you want to chat with your friends who don't know anything otherwise and better, and you're just generally shooting the shit about it, sure, right? You're on your own time. Okay, go see your doctor. Call the Schumann with your doctor, right? That's fine. He'll figure it out, okay? He's trained enough dealing with people and their things sometimes, like he can figure out the Schumann resonance, blah, 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 blah. All right. However, here, in this learning environment, okay, for you, a person, you, the student, to consider all the atmospheric electromagnetics to be under the domain of the Schumann is doing yourself a huge disservice. If you're learning about the Schumann resonances as something other than learning about the earth to learn about the earth, if you're not learning about the Schumann resonances just for that simple goal, learning about them just to learn about them, if you're learning about the Schumann resonances because you're really believing that I respond to these spikes at the peaks, and when I see a spike, that's when I felt right, and you're one of these type of people, okay, that's fine. It doesn't do you any good to associate a spike, to nail you to stick your headache on a spike when you have a lot of spike on a chart in Russia, halfway around the world. Don't know what's going on in Russia around there to reach that spike. However, the untrained eye sees Russia, thinks it's the world. Okay? As Tomsk goes, so does the Schumann observing world. And in the haste to associate some physical malady with a spike on the Schumann resonances, blame it all on the Schumann doesn't do you a bit of good to ignore what the problem is and call it and put it all on the shoulder of the Schumann. Okay? Much of the remainder of electromagnetics that's around you is in a much stronger range than the Schumann resonance. Okay? Here's an applied theory, okay? Applied principle. If one thinks that the problem is the Schumann that's causing the ringing or the nausea, which is coming from a different source of electromagnetics, then the problem clearly does not get addressed. Therefore, a proper solution cannot be found to your problem. You're coming at this, right? This is just the technical aspect coming at you, okay? If you're coming into this with a perceived data path, you're coming into this with an already fixed mind. What the problem is, yet the cause of your problem is not from what you think it is, that problem does not ever get addressed. It's like when people come in to the bike shop, the wheel is vibrating, right? It's off true. It's like waving. The wheel is waving at you as you watch them from behind, and the brakes don't work properly. People say, oh, my brakes aren't working properly. Well, yeah, your wheel is messed up. We got to affect the wheel. No, I don't want you to worry about the wheel. I don't have the money to pay for a wheel true. Dude, it's only $15. It'll help you out. No, just fix the brakes. Right? It's like people who come into it with an idea. I'm worried about the brakes. I only want the brakes to work. Just do that. Right? Close off all other avenues that there maybe your problem may be addressed by something else. That's true the wheel. Oh, no, I'm not here for that. I just want the brakes. That's humans. Those are the humans. The stupidest and the stubbornest of the fucking bunch, quite honestly. No offense to you. If you identify yourself as a pure, straight up human, okay? This is just my personal opinion. Okay? Leave me a shitty, crappy comment about how I've maligned humans. Not the ones you know don't ever do that. No, the ones I know, all the humans I know are great people and humans anyway. All right, this is probably a good stopping point at this point. 33 minutes into it. Let me have a drink before I really get on my my bandwagon. This is good. I'd say I have a little mark here. This indicates the stopping point for me. All right, so 34 minutes. That's a good place to stop. All right, so let me have a pause. Let you have a pause. Time for a drink. Only coffee, no alcohol. All right, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, onward and upward. 3408. All right, so new paragraph. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone for being here. If you've stuck around here to this point, thank you very much for being here. Relative to Schumann resonances and the Schumann resonance harmonics, at this point, I've provided a wealth of basic to me, what I'm basic and not so basic, I'll admit that. I've tried to make it as basic, the information as possible, which is still advanced for a lot of people. It'll take you quite a while to sort out everything that's there. All of the necessary information to decipher Schumann resonances has been provided at this point. All right, so that's fairly self-explanatory. Like everything you need to know to figure out how to figure out the Schumann resonances, read through the spectrogram and the Tomsk and others and all of that, I've given it how it works in depth. And so at this point, if you followed along and you go back to the old material, you just got to keep going back. And while I'm here, and the whatever time is still left for me to still be here, ask questions. Right? It's important. Ask specific questions. There are no dumb questions. There's only dumb answers. Okay. There's people who don't ask questions that make statements who should have asked a lot more questions. Right? That's what a dumb statement is. A dumb answer. So you have a lot of the basic information you need at this point. From this point, right? This point here, I'm evolving a two-tiered system of dispersal of information. Schumann resonances are a product of natural movement of energy from the upper to the lower atmosphere and vice versa. This comes free with the planet. I've given you a lot of this information free. I haven't put out my hand looking for to get paid for it. I've had the donations out, but most of the videos I've never even mentioned. I have donations thing. Just have made the videos and just provided this for free. Not even worried about it. The universe is taking care of it. However, things are changing. Okay. Schumann resonances come free with the planet. However, the Schumann resonances are only a small portion of atmospheric electromagnetics. It is undeniable that atmospheric electromagnetics are causing a lot of physical maladies of the population. The majority of the physical ailments are not from the source of the Schumann resonances, yet it's a common belief that they are. It is this confusion that has me flummoxed. Good word, flummoxed. Until my guides suggested that I work folks through these issues as an advanced study for individuals willing to help and for those who are ready for it. There is the most basic relevant info that we're offering free to the public. Clear information on the Schumann resonance is a free service, yet there's more to it than this. All right, so 6 months into it, you have all the information on the Schumann resonance. It's free with the planet. You've gotten your information. This is what my guide said. Like we'll give the Schumann resonance is free. It comes with the planet, right? There you go. Science, some science in school somewhere teaches about the Schumann resonances, but you got to pay money to be, to be a student at an institution. Here, I've given you the studies, and I've given you the data, the actual data itself, the research. I've given you, the references, the citations, the links where you could go, and all of it. So you yourself can go. You're well informed if you've been following along here. Okay. Yeah, there's more to it than this. All right. Let's take a quick break. Okay. There's more to it. Welcome back. Most of the aches and pains and troubles coming from other than Schumann resonances sources. Rather than not address these, as I kind of have been, my guides have suggested that I take a different approach. Other than Schumann resonances, okay, atmospheric electromagnetics that are other than Schumann resonances is a huge, wide open area. There's a lot of confusion between the Schumann and all the rest of the other stuff, from which could or would come a means of support. Okay, so that's what my guide said to me, that you got to do this video and put it out there to people that you are looking to expand the channel, and you are looking to address the atmospheric electromagnetics different than and in addition to the Schumann resonances. One of the things is helping people assist in grounding out and assisting folks in EMF shielding of your buildings. Okay, offer some consulting to people. All right, well, okay. sign up for a half an hour of my time, right? We'll talk. Sign up for an hour of my time. How big is your issue? Okay. Um, my current job as a landscaper at L is damn near killing me. Okay, the landscaper. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find any videos on this. Okay, 40 minutes into it. I can't believe I'm doing this. All right, the picture in front of you is absolutely not Schumann resonance related. This is my day job. Okay, this is what I do for landscaping, my day job. What you're looking at is a walkway behind here. If you it's all gray, right? I mean, what are we looking at? All right, so these are pavers behind here. These are actually a cement type of cement that's colored gray. All right, and so these are pavers, and you see in between the pavers is crushed stone. Okay, uh, stone dust. Actually, I think this is stone dust. There's two. There's stone dust, and they're crushed stone. The dust is finer. It's what you put underneath. It's the underlay to the pavers, and then the crushed stone is the bigger stuff. So the dust is the finer it gets underneath. So behind this, the edging here, these are bits and pieces of marble and granite, both. Some is actually uh, a ceramic composite, like these ones that are like all chalky white. This one here with a name attached on it, that's actually produced in a kiln, like 1800, 2000 degrees. It's produced from chunks of marble and this stuff. They melt it and then recomposite it together and do all this crazy shit. So behind this, this is the edging. You see, this is the walkway, this is the edging, and behind this, all this dirt, this is a scaffolding that I have to build behind this. I've never done this before. This is a non-standard application for the edging and these busted up pieces. I've never done this before. Yeah, there we go. So this is more of the walkway. Okay, this is at the boss's main house. So you get a better idea. This cement was poured here. I didn't do that, but my coworker Matt did. Okay, so you see, I mean, these pieces here aren't that heavy. They're not heavy in itself, but all of this gets moved. All of this, I moved all of that with pallets of these pavers, pallets of oh, there's a better picture. All right, so I tend to the plants. This is before we had put this. This was going into the new location, the boss's newest house. Okay, we see how much granite and marble goes behind the walkway, the edging here. You can see how gorgeous this looks, right? I tend the plants, but I also have to do the edging stuff. Could you do that if you had to? Good thing for me, I have a god that I ask, right? So this is more of the walkway that I've had to do. We're putting up the pieces of a scaffolding. And again, it's a scaffolding of smaller pieces of granite and marble that came from the dumpster of the countertop place. So all of this broken and busted marble, these little narrow long pieces that are all going to support the edging, those all came from a dumpster. So I had to literally jump into the dumpster, pull out all the pieces that I wanted or needed, and I'm still not done. There's still more of these little tiny pieces, all of those little tiny pieces. I pulled them from the dumpster as part of the job. And so you see more of the walkway. You see stacks of the pavers that are going into the other patio that we recently did. All of these, I helped Matt, the two of us, Matt and myself, had moved these pavers. And each paver weighs probably about 35 pounds, 40 pounds maybe. You know, it's about the size of a plate of a lifting plate, probably about 35 pounds, I'd say. So there's easily 100 of them that we put in here. It would be nice if I only had to tend the plants, but there's more to it that I got to do. All of this hardware stuff, that's what my job is, right? All this gets moved. All right, so, all right. So I don't want to take more of the time of the video. Let me get back into the. So, with all that said, there's a lot more work-related pictures. My current job as a landscaper and all the other stuff I got to do is killing me. Old man, I'm 52. I just can't be doing this anymore, right? And this, my guides had suggested to me to do this video, the one that I did, and this one here, as a kind of an explanation, I guess, to people to explain where I'm at. I joke about the terrific 10 of you, but there's more than 10 that actually are interested and care. And so this is where I'm at, that I need to figure another means of supporting myself so that I'm not working at a job that's tearing me down. And I'll just say that. All right. So among other undesirable consequences, the situation deprives me of time necessary to guide folks through this period of time. Quite honestly, my boss can find a trained orangutan to do the job I'm doing, right? The only part of the job was just me talking with the plants and me tending the plants. That would be different. That would be manageable. However, the boss has made it clear to me that she needs me to do other things that are not tending to plants, right? Even though there's enough work to keep me working with just the plants, she needs me because she needs another warm body to just do the work. Doesn't need me in here. She just needs a warm body to do the work, right? So, because I happen to be here, she has me do a lot of this stuff. The patio that I just showed you, that's an advanced kind of thing. That's non-standard, like I'll accept. That's part of the work that had gone into, that had been on the back burner for years, okay? So that's part of that whole, I shared this in the other video. Part of the main thing in there for with this woman is to clear up a lot of the old jobs that are back order on the back burner. So that is that walkway project is one of those ones that requires me. But that's mostly done. It needs some more work. I need some more work, okay? But that's mostly done. And I will say this, that even though they're not the most stable, none of them are really going to fall over. There's a few that look like they may. All right, so I will say that. But the majority of them aren't going to fall over. They have supports on them, and they just need to be finessed, okay? Which is a pain in the ass job for me. All right, so this is more of the nitpicky work of the part of this job that's bullshit. We all have this, the nitpicky bullshit part of the work that makes the job just a schmutz kind of thing. But we who've worked for a while, you offset the pain in the ass of the job with what you get in return. So there's a roof over my head that comes with the pain in the ass of the job, okay? Well, things are shifted, and I was told to have my life vessel in order, and my life vessel is in order. And so now that the waters are coming, now is time where I got to start asking people to help me, and then that way I can spend more time giving you the answers that you need during this time. All right. So after asking my guides how to start handling this, the new direction in life, I was instructed to do this video, to write out all this stuff that I wrote out, and setting from my conscious, clear stated intention of dedicating my time toward this pursuit. I can't dedicate more time towards assisting folks in dealing with the associated atmospheric electromagnetics at this time, until I'm no longer obliged to work for this company to provide a roof over my head. Okay, that's simple. So this is the first of the fundraiser that I'm going to be doing to get donations coming in to help me find a new roof over my head, so that it's not killing me, and so that I don't just simply desire to go to sleep and not wake up. At this point, the direction of this job, that's what I've been asking for. Please, just, I've given everything with the Schumann Resonances. That's good. That doesn't need me anymore. Okay, all my family's gone. Everyone's gone. There's only 10 people that really care, you can take me, right? I've asked God, I'm done. I don't need anything, don't want anything. I've heard enough. I've seen enough. All my family's gone. Whatever. I could give a fuck, right? I've heard enough. I've seen enough here on this planet. There's better places. There's better places than Earth. I don't know how to tell you that. Earth is a swamp. It's a prison, part swamp, part prison, part elementary school for the lowest of the low. Whatever. I've seen enough. So, this may or may not be a healthy attitude. It's how I feel. However, they're not letting me just go in my sleep. There's still a few months left. So even if whatever I don't get it, like I need to move in the direction, even if my time is cut short and I don't get a mobile home, I need to move in this direction. This is where I need to go. And part of it is because I'm throwing this out to you for your help as well. That's what I need to do as well. That it's not just me. I am fairly independent. I can be independent. I am independent. However, that's one of the exercises here on Earth is how do you depend on others? How well do you play with others? Okay, and part of it is you have to ask for help at some point. And it's how it is. So that's where I'm at right now is asking for help. Okay, I am a servant. Okay, all right. This is important to know. I'm a servant to Prime Source as my primary guide. I talk about my guides, my series of guides. There's multiple of them. But Prime Source is my number one guide, along with the Grand Council of 12, for which I am the emissary. I represent the 1313 or 1331. 1313 is the basic. The 1331 is the advanced Etheric Technicians Guild, for what it's worth. This is the standard I am held to that I will face an accounting of how well I have used my time and my free will. I do not want to be standing in front of the Almighty, in front of the council, and having to give an accounting for my time and then be found wanting. So that is where I'm at. Okay, I'm giving you this because you need to know it. But my ultimate motivation is because that's part of the mission of what I'm doing here, is to present you this technical stuff that a lot of people are not able to kind of work through of themselves. And so it's part of what the goal is, that for people who are willing and ready, who have questions, legitimate questions, answer them. A lot of people have statements. They make statements, and they want me to agree with the statements they make. Dumb statements. Lots of dumb statements out there. Okay. The questions are sacred. There are no dumb questions. There are questions that have frustrated me. I'll grant you that because of the way it's worded, or I can't make heads or tails of what some people are asking. Okay. But there's a question mark, and I'll at least address it. And sometimes it's like, that's just way beyond me. But I'm not here to agree with a lot of these statements people are making, the foregoing conclusions that people have. They're just bullshit in your head. I'm not I'm not tossing your salad on the shit, right? Either you get it or you don't. I have what I'm here to present to you. I have the data and the whatever. And if there's all the shit that people have in their head, it's made up, or the Disney, Disney smoked them. They smoked up the Disney, and they get some crazy idea of what's happening, right? No, I'm not going to just chit chat with you and verify and validate your whatever theory that you got. Like, I don't know where people come up with this shit from, quite honestly, right? Certainly not where I'm from, and I'm from elsewhere, not from here. This is one lifetime, and when I'm done, I want to get out of this lifetime as quickly as I can, efficiently, quickly as I can, move on to the next part of helping people in my original form. That's what we're talking about. This retarded, stunted, mutated hybrid form, or my original form. That's all. I'm just talking about myself for myself. Okay. So when it's time, and I'm over there, when I get a given accounting, I want it to be said, good job. You gave your best when you could. That's what I'm looking for. So that's what my motivation here is. I don't have a sales pitch, even though I have the donations out. Please donate. I'm kind of don't even care if that, like, I'm ultimately, God provides me. I could live in a tent in the woods. I could live in a tent in the woods, right? Just a little campground, as long as it's a woods I'm able to live in, like, that's fine. No one's going to come after me for trespassing or something stupid. This is me giving my opinion on myself for myself. This may or may not resonate with you. I'm not talking about anyone else, for anyone else. I'm not talking for you. I don't even have a family. I don't have any kids. I don't have anyone. I have nothing. I have just myself. I'm only talking about myself for myself. In service to a problem that is much bigger than simply the Schumann series resonances, I am branching out in a new direction to broaden the scope of possible help that I can be. Okay. Not only is the issue identifying one from another, or one electromagnetic source from another, yet we also, part of it is, we also need to deal with how to protect ourselves against some of the stuff and to ground out the energies that are here as well, that are affecting us. Atmospheric electromagnetics is the name of the new channel, and I'm working on some content for it now. I'm fairly certain that the first video will be just discussing a Faraday cage. I don't know. I'm not sure what the first video is, but that'll be in one of the first videos. I'm thinking relative to a Faraday cage, I may make a short video and post it on Schumann Resonances, but then post a bigger, like I do. I have a short kind of teaser 5-minute or short intro video, and then the other one will be on the new channel to get people over to the new channel. Something like that. It's an idea. But Faraday cage is high on the list of things protecting, EMF protecting. Faraday cage isn't helping you in a practical sense against Schumann resonance. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Schumann resonances, yet this is something we discuss regularly. What are the limitations to a Faraday cage? What is it to start with? Right? What is a Faraday cage? Before we even talk about what it does, or well, what is a Faraday cage? You know, so this is one of the things that have come up here. People have mentioned it. I've mentioned it as well in the comments, and especially on Wages World live stream chat. We talk about a Faraday cage. It's something we'll throw out. But there's a lot of technical information about it. You got to know it doesn't. A Faraday cage does not keep out all electromagnetic radiation. Okay, it works on a range of it, just like an antenna picks up a range of signals and then nothing outside of that based on the physical parameters of the wire itself. Okay, the type, the shape, the size of the wire, how many times it's wound around the thing. These are all important elements to know when you're talking about picking up an antenna signal. It's the same exact thing with the Faraday cage of shielding yourself from antenna, shielding yourself from electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so like an antenna will pick up, the Faraday cage also will pick it up, but it won't allow it to go beyond that. It acts as a border or a boundary to a certain range of frequencies. Okay, Faraday cages need to be built to certain specifications of the range of signals you're looking to keep out. Okay, so the signal that comes with the Schumann resonances is in the lowest range than the majority of the electromagnetics that are around you. Okay, and as a FYI, Faraday cage may not keep out your cell signal, which is probably a good thing. All right. However, that means that those higher frequency signals are also getting in as well. If you can send a call out through a Faraday cage, that also means stuff is coming in as well. Okay? So there's a lot to building a Faraday cage that is more than just let's get some copper wire. Okay. So dealing with these complex kind of issues of a Faraday cage, for example, that's one of the things that the atmospheric electromagnetics channel would deal with. There's a lot of technical questions moving forward. So while I might be fine answering questions on the Schumann resonances as a public service, there is simply too much atmospheric electromagnetics that are not Schumann related, not Schumann caused, which need to be addressed. I don't have the time and the energy currently to deal with this, yet the larger portion of problems folks are experiencing, which, okay, the bigger problem with the electromagnetics is these phantom symptoms that are being reported. Okay, the phantom symptom is one not related to a physiological condition. For example, if you were to step on a piece of glass and your foot hurt, There's a physiological condition. You stepped on, you have a piece of glass in your foot, okay, or a splinter or something, right? There's a medical, you can find the cause of your hurt, okay. Um, Tinnitus is a medical condition of ringing in the ears, but based on the physical condition of the crystals in your ears. If the crystals in your ears have lodged, become dislodged, and are floating around, in your ear, you'll get a ringing you'll get a tinnitus. You'll get a ringing, but there's certain symptoms, range of symptoms that come from that physical malady of the loose crystals in your ear. Okay, so that's not what we're talking about. Phantom symptoms are ones without a physical uh, source, without a physical cause, right? No loose crystals. If you don't have loose crystals in your ear, you should not be experiencing a ringing, yet a lot of people have this phantom ringing and a phantom nausea that comes from something else that's not a physiological cause of a reason why it should be happening. That's what the phantom causes are. And so the question is, what are the cause of these? There's a lot of people that insist, violently so, that this is something that's legitimately happening. A lot of people are complaining about the ringing in the ears, and that's fine. So there's enough people that are getting it. We say, all right, it's there, but there's no root cause of it, as you would in the case of a legitimate tinnitus. So what does that mean? Okay, if you associate it with the electromagnetics, you can measure the electromagnetics, but there's not an automatic guarantee that you yourself would experience some byproduct from the electromagnetics, yet the technician can explain, can give you a data path of how the atmospheric electromagnetics are causing the ringing. Okay, this is really important. It's not the Schumann resonances. The Schumann resonance guy can automatically dismiss it because the ringing sensation and nausea, this is not a time-honored symptom of the Schumann resonances. The ringing that people recently, within the last 8 years, 5 to 8 years, that's become universal, and within the last 2, that it's become commonplace, where it's been enough that have caused people to go to the Schumann resonance to look up what's happening. The last year, really, has been where the mass of the ringing and the vertigo has become public fodder for debate, and likewise has been linked to the Schumann resonances because that's the only atmospheric electromagnetics that people know about or that talk about or that's out there. So part of the dealing with the symptoms is with the atmospheric electromagnetics that are not Schumann related. Okay. So after bringing up this impasse to my guides, they've suggested I present this to my subs and readers for their assistance to me to be of greater service to those who can use the most help. Okay? In the current situation, I don't have a great desire to do much other than sleep when I'm not working. You need to work to provide a roof over your head, but pretty much when I'm not working at this job, I just wish to sleep and ask God to just take me. Right? You're God, you can do it. Easy enough, right? My job here is done. If this is what my life here is, right? You saw it. You saw the work I do. Great work, yeah, but for a person who's not ever going to be really satisfied or happy with it, there's always going to be some problems. It's all this little one is tilting a little much. Can you? I don't have much motivation to be here. If you only knew what was waiting for you on the other side, you would be in the same place as me. That's the only difference between me and you, is I know what's waiting on the other side. But you can't leave early. So to help make life a little more living, a little more worth living, I need to be mobile and independent for a multitude of reasons, and yet you, my people that are getting something out of this, you are what kind of matter here, right? You are my boss. You are my the person I'm held accountable to. Yet one of the biggest that comes to my mind is the possibility of going places to visit people, to spend time with them personally. picking my brains, quote unquote, picking my brains on a variety of subjects. Okay. My guides have reminded me that I freely talk with my guides. I have opened up myself to them. Please tell me. I don't know anything. I've gotten myself out of the way, and I say, I don't know anything. You have to tell me everything. Okay? Give me the guidance that I need. Tell me, right? You need to direct me because I'm not able to direct myself here on Earth. I'm clueless here on Earth. It's just a shit show. So you tell me where I need to be, and therefore that gives me my impeccable timing. So part of this is to talk to people. Some people have said, they've said to me, I don't know why, but they've said, I'd love to chat with you at length and talk about a bunch of stuff. Um, and, that would be fine. Theoretically, I need a way to get there. So part of doing this is it's an ability to go around the country or around the world. I don't know. Maybe take a trip to, some other country or something. I don't know. Not Canada, I don't think, but other countries. Um, and talk to people about all kinds of stuff, all kinds of maybe advanced stuff that I haven't even begun to get into with people, but like it's there. Um, my guides remind me of a very strong truth in my life that I have an unbreakable connection to Prime Source and my spirit guides. I have unshakable belief in their guidance and do as I am directed to the best of my willing ability. I don't always have a willing ability. Sometimes I just have an ability, sometimes I'm just willing. When my part is correct, I've never been dissatisfied with the results. When I do my part correctly, I've not been dissatisfied with what happens as a result. Elsewhere in the known universe, it would be nearly impossible to deny a prime cause or a divine purpose or a source behind it all. You couldn't stand on a planet with this much incredible amount of organization on it elsewhere and question whether or not there's some divine source behind it or divine intelligence behind it. You couldn't. You literally could not do all of the stuff we do here on Earth, all of the predictable ways, the laws, all these laws that people put, laws, law, and then, call it random, and you still exist. There's nowhere else in the known universe that I could even imagine where you could question whether or not a source exists. So all of this structure, and yet call it random, and say, well, I don't know if God exists. This could all be random and purposeless. You don't understand the word random. You don't understand the word intention, the word purpose, the word creative intelligence. You don't understand random. Just there is in many humans, more of the scientific ones, I guess. I don't know. But in a lot of humans, there's a disconnection between what is actually intentional and it being called random. A lot of the predictability and the order of this world just goes unnoticed. It goes taken for granted. It gets used, destroyed, taken for granted, shitified. The intelligence of the planet that actually things survive here in the planet, in dirt. You can get things to grow in what is toxic for us. Environments that are toxic for humans, things can grow in. Mushrooms that will eat the oil that we spill all over the place. Detritivores, which means they feed on dead things. There's a huge, amazing amount of life on this planet. The planet wants to grow stuff. And yet humans, in their disconnected lizard brain, right? That part of the humans that are disconnected, that has no feelings, that has no emotions, that is not able to see what's around it as organized because, it's not, I can't see it. Right? Just that's the humans, right? Just I choose not to see it. I'll ignore it. And then we'll just call all the organization randomness and say it's all purposeless. Um, so that's part of what the challenge to humans is to recognize the source in everything, in the soil and everything, right? And that's part of what the challenge to humans is to get the head together, to get the two parts of the head that don't want to talk to each other, the thinking, logical, non-feeling part to join together with the entirely feeling the body felt sensations of the experience. Um, and it is not until humans can come to that kind of oneness within themselves, not even the whole world, don't even talk about anyone else, just yourself first. You coming to terms with the fact that your logic can't explain away feelings, right? Senses, intuitive sense of things more than just, oh, I feel hungry, I feel tired, right? The most basic human feelings we have. No, no, no. Intuition. To actually be able to read what someone's thinking. To channel into what each other are thinking. It's fine enough if you can channel Archangel Michael. How about you channel your wife? How about that? All right. How about you get into what your girlfriend is thinking? All right. What the way that the thoughts move through her feeling sensory organs. Right? How about that? Before trying to change the world, how about you just make your family a better place? I don't know. Right? This is where the humans are at. That no one is getting anywhere until you are able to clear out the lowest of the lowest of the emotional densities, and you yourself are able to allow the thoughts and the feelings to both be jointly held in the body. That yeah, you can think some really great stuff, but also I am also constrained to the feelings of my body. These weird anxieties I have, what are they? They're not just of an imagination. They are there telling you something. The weird, oddball, random feelings you can't put a name to, but they're there, they exist. You can't think them away. And that's part of the big problems with humans, is that God exists in how God is there. The divine prime source is there in your body, unifying us together through our collective feeling centers, our emotional, feeling, spiritual centers. And then the thoughts are there, the last thing, trying to keep it all together to keep our sanity uh, in an otherwise insane environment. So there's the point I'm making, I'm a little off track, but the point I'm making is that there is nowhere you could live in a human body, you could live in a body and question the organization of the body itself as if it is intentional. Okay? They have tried to call this random, and yet there's links, there's big missing links in how you get the natural evolution of humans. Okay? Humans are a hybrid. And it seems we have been made specifically for closing off the connection of this planet to prime source. Be wrong, but from my limited perspective, that's the one thing that humans offer among everything else, besides the ability to pollute everything and everywhere, right? With toxins that will kill the whole planet. Besides that ability, the one overwhelming ability of the human is to deny what they feel. A lot of times, like the lizard brain of the human, that's a lot of times what its job seems to be, is to deny the very essence of the feeling and the emotional center in the human and give it a valid place that means something to you in the sense of guiding you in some way that is different from just the thoughts of logic, because logic is yet another sense of the human. And until you insert facts, some facts, figures, some data in there somewhere, logic doesn't work. Logic depends on feeling center, depends on your motivation, it depends on a lot of stuff in order for logic to actually work. And so the problem is people depend on logic and facts and data when they're not patient enough to get all of the facts. And so most people's logic is faulty and flawed from the fact that it's not firing on all the available evidence. That's part of the problem of why I've been dealing with the Schumann resonances, and part of the problem part of what I've been dealing with the Schumann resonances, but yet why we need to expand out further is that people need to get more of the actual data into their mind before they start making conclusions that, oh, it's the Schumann resonances that's doing this. No, man. No. You have a lot of stuff around you that you're ignoring because it's convenient for you to ignore it. Let's just put it right out there, right in your face, right in your teeth. The majority of shit that people ignore, they're unshielded electronics that are plastic, anything that you're sending a signal out, anything. You're sending a signal out to some satellite, some antenna that's wrapped in plastic is killing you. There ain't any other ways around it. Don't blame the Schumann resonances when you want to have the latest and greatest Samsung or the latest and greatest Apple, right? I don't even want to hear it from people anymore. I don't even fucking care. Seriously. How people can have the ability to just look past this phone, it's right in their face, right? Where's my phone? Wait, do you, like, people, like, you have your phone in your hand. Oh, where's my phone? Right? That far fucking gone. That much of a zombie with this shit, right? It's part of the dumbification and the shitification of the human genetic code to get you to ignore all the electronics that are around you that are, oh, I need them for my life. I'm looking at a big fucking, it's a 1080 by 960, I think it is, a screen. I got it for free, all plastic. My laptop, all plastic, right? All of it. My stereo, my receiver, which I don't use, that's encased in metal, right? There's this nice Sony, the TIAC, that's metal, My mixing board that I use everything for, that's plastic, right? That's not metal. Part of it's metal, but the sides of it are plastic. We'll give that. Part of it is metal, part of it's plastic. All right. So this is the biggest problem that people have. The ordinary reality is that people ignore the plastic in front of them, ignore the unshielded plastic boxes that contain the electronics that are incredibly powerful, right? If you're running a 2 gig or a 3 gig processor, two of them, 6 gigahertz, do you know how fucking powerful that is? I have no idea how powerful that is. No idea, right? Otherwise, if you did, you would blame your electronics for causing your headache or causing your thing. But it's inconvenient to do that. No. I would just rather blame it on the Schumann resonances, right? Easy. No one's speaking up for the Schumann resonances. Schumann himself is dead, flipping her up in his grave a million times because people have maligned his name. The ordinary reality around people is the unshielded electronics you've surrounded yourself with, you've given to your kids. The cell phone you give to your kid to use. Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. And the parents have the let their kids have it right there, like, who cares? Whatever. Doesn't matter to you. Why should it matter to me? Right? But that's the ordinary reality that the humans live in. Right? Just to accept because it's convenient, simply because it's convenient, right? To have all electronics right there, okay, right there when you need it. That is what is giving people the biggest cause of their maladies. The unshielded domestic electronics. A lot of women put it right in their, right here, right in the bra, which would shock the shit out of me, especially if you have a kid and you're nursing a kid. You put your little heater right there, or guys that put their cell phone right in the front pocket that wind up with testicular cancer. Women that put their cell phone here that wind up with breast cancer. My stepmom Ellen, who put her phone right here when she's on the phone, 2 hours between, she had a tumor here. Believe whatever you want. I don't care. If it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to me. Okay? However, it's not simply, back to the text, it's not simply the fact that I know God exists. It's equally how I connect a prime source that makes a difference. The picture I have in the middle of my head that is always there of just a ball of light that's the representative of prime source. Simply through my process, my connection with source is much more pure than the majority of folks. Because number one, I believe that there is a prime source. There's no question in my mind, right? There's not any question in my mind whether, what, any of that. what's going to happen. There is no question, right? There's just the 100% assurance that it's there without any question. That's what makes it different, right? You could have that. Could you? I don't know. Maybe, probably not. This is why I need to keep open the dialogues with the humans, because they don't know how to do this. The majority of humans, there's a few, sure, there's a few, but the majority of humans at this point, the ones still left on the planet, if you can't claim to be from elsewhere, out there, somewhere else, it's not human, then chances are this would be what your condition is. Right? I need to keep the dialogue open to the humans because I utilize this field significantly different from most folks. I don't really want to tell you that. I've never said that. I don't care to tell you. You don't need to know that. I don't fucking care, right? It's just me. I'm talking about me. I don't really care. Whatever. I don't care. However, right? If you'd like to know, coming from me to let you know what's different, how am I so whatever, because I look at this much differently. I think of this much differently. I have an assurance and a surety that is not of human origin. This is why and how I need to be of service to others, and why and how I can't just close the shop because I'm done. The fact that my own crown center is opened as a permanently open channel to source is what makes me a little different. I meditate a lot. And the time that I don't talk with other humans because there's no one around me, I talk with Source. I talk with God. I talk with all the dead people who are with me all over the place. Right? I meditate a lot. I listen. And I make it. I'm always asking for help. I make a time and a place where I can be receptive of what needs to come to me. Please tell me. You ask. If a person asks, you ask. Right? And you do the best ability you can. You don't sit around and wait for an answer. You just asked a question. You haven't done your part to wait for an answer. That's the difference between me and most people. As I ask some pretty intense questions. I don't ask humans anything. Right? First and foremost, I don't ask humans anything except maybe, how are you doing? How's your job? The minuscule, minor shit, the everyday shit that is only that person's life, right? But anything greater than that, what's coming next, what humans don't know. Humans don't know anything. No one knows anything, right? Unless it's someone. There are people that pray. They're like me. Same thing as me. They pray, they ask, they have the picture in their head, they wait for an answer, and then they get the answer and act on that answer, right? It's that simple. So if that's not what you're doing, then yeah, there's a significant difference of what makes me and the few of us that do this different from the majority of people. Right? We know that there is a place there that receives us. It's not, well, God, I don't know if. No, it's the greatest bit of a surety that's more sure than I am of anything in this planet, that there is something that's out there greater. You couldn't sit here and all of this purpose and all of this and stuff and all of this organization here on this planet question for one moment. You're a reasonable, rational person, and you're not stuffed, and the fear channel is not stuffed, and the guilt channel is not stuffed in you, right? You're a reasonable person, and you're sitting there. You know what random means. You know what intelligent design means. There's no way you could sit here and all of this intelligently designed stuff, even among the humans, and the worst of the worst, right? You're still intelligent and you still produce some intelligent shit. Even if it's artwork that doesn't make any sense at all, or if it's a mug that you can't hold on to, it was made with an intention, all right? Same thing with the trees, same thing with the plants, right? I didn't make them, you didn't make them, but they come here to the planet. They're obviously an intelligence well further beyond humans. The plants and the trees are an intelligence well beyond humans. Say that. Because I have a different way of picturing God, a different way of picturing how my prayers go, a different way of asking, a different language I use, that's what makes me different. So, because I have been gifted and blessed with this understanding of how to use these principles, they're open to everyone, right? Not just for me, they're open to everyone. If you choose to use them, if you choose to accept it, you too can get the same results. right? But you gotta be patient. You gotta meditate. You gotta wait for the answer. A lot of people aren't patient. They just want the answer now, now, now. And because God didn't answer it 5 minutes ago, well, if God knew my question, he could have answered it in my head. What else are you thinking of in your head? All right. You let God answer the question, or are you also thinking about the insurance payment on your car? You're thinking of what your daughter's doing. You're thinking of your work. I mean, how many other things, when you ask God for a question, how many other things are working in your head to prevent you from getting an answer? That's what's different. When I talk to God and I want an answer, I don't get distracted by other things. I sit and wait for an answer. That's the difference. That's how it works in my life. That's how it can work in your life if you so choose it. But part of what's really important about this is to reduce holding on to the negative emotional densities, holding on to feelings and spirits that aren't your own, holding on to knowledge that's been designed to fuck you up. You know, like for example, getting back to the Schumann resonances, this belief in the rhetoric that 7.8 hertz is the Earth's frequency. Right? The 7.8 hertz of the Schumann resonances is the Earth's frequency. So part of the difference is allowing yourself to release to God, to the source, the nature of your mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs. You got to be able to allow source to get in, clear that out as well of what you think is right. What you think, oh yeah, no, I know this is true, right? And yet, what you know, what you believe you know is true, is stopping what really is true from coming in. We've adopted the factoid insertion in the head of just some fact in there. Oh, well, that sounds good. Oh, good. Okay, well, that's what it is. All right, well, good. I don't need to know that anymore. And then the learning process stops and you just become an idiot. That's how most people are just stupid, is they've stopped taking in new information that's right in front of them. Right? They are just stubborn. Stupid people are stubborn. That's what makes them stupid. Right? It's simply put. Right? If you don't know something, you believe you know something, but you're open to new information. Just because you don't know something, that doesn't make you stupid. Right? I'll say that. Right? Like the stupid question, dumb question. There isn't a dumb question. You're asking. You don't know. Please tell me. Right? That. There isn't any, by definition. There is no stupid question. You didn't know. Right? That's why you ask a question, so that I am not stupid. Right? The stupid ones are the ones that don't really know, but they're not holding on to what they know. That's what makes someone the dumbest and the stupidest of the bunch, is that they're holding on to an idea, which is a half-truth or less than a half-truth, and they don't want to release it. Right? You prove, you show them right there, like, yeah, okay. No, no, no. For example, the turning a lot of the intention of this planet, calling it random, like doing the verbal linguistic fuckery of the inversion, the language inversion spell of taking something that is intentional and calling it random, and just inverting what it actually is into some word to prove your point. Right? So that's part of the condition of having to come into this, is that my hands are sort of tied with the Schumann, is that I'm only dealing with a certain range of electromagnetics. Okay. So with allowing for a discussion of atmospheric electromagnetics, it allows to have a greater discussion of people to help the person to dissuade them from toxic information. Right? And again, an example of the toxic information is telling people the Earth's frequency is 7.8 hertz. Okay. It's not correct. It's not technically correct. It's a fairy tale that was inserted to close off that channel from further understanding. But then there's also the part of it that's the most malignant, of the fact that people don't want to let go of what has been inserted into there. All right, so this commitment is not something that's shared by all folks. Okay, so my commitment to the Schumann Resonance is commitment of people to get answers from source, right? Instead of from the humans who don't know shit, right? My commitment to get answer from the source. Hard to commit with something that important which one cannot see often enough. So it's hard for people to depend on the line to source when they can't see anything. Okay, readily see it, and they have to depend on imagination. Okay, or their feeling set, their intuitive feeling set, which we'll just call emotion. Okay, it's part of the human condition that makes it difficult to live in the form of the suit of isolation. So as humans shut off others, shut off the ability to intuitively connect with others through the birthright of the DNA, that you can if you tune into someone, you can read their mind, but it takes a while, right? You can read other people's thoughts, and you can finish, twins, couples, sometimes will do that. They look at each other and they just know what each other's thinking, and they finish each other's sentences. This is a real thing. This is an actual real thing that is possible to do if you scale back on the thinking and the toxic mental aspect of it, of questioning whether or not it's real, it exists, or the whole thing of, oh, you feeling silly or shame or whatever, these things that we do to each other. And so it's the things that are invisible to the lowest vibration. As you raise your vibration, things start becoming more evident. You start seeing different things, right? As you get rid of the anger and flush out the anger and the anxiety and all of this stuff, and then the hurt and the fear and the pain, and you get rid of those out of your system, your operating system of your body, and you get rid of those, and you start living a connected life with this spirit of the universe and the spirit of others and the best and highest potential. You start committing to these ideals of operating with a positive vibration. Okay, you're not there selling a fact to someone else. That's the difference between this and that. That's the difference between me doing this and other people doing this, is that a lot of people have facts that they're trying to sell you to get you to believe a certain way, a certain something. Okay, so unless you can see it a lot of times in a picture of some type, it's very difficult to believe other than what has been inserted into the head from some external source. Yet, I myself have a clear image of the evidence of prime source, the avatar of prime source creator. I can see and feel and know the presence of the divine. In this world of turmoil and chaos, I'm not just weary and tired, but I'm not weary and tired. I am. I'm not just weary and tired. I'll just say that. Yes, I am. I am weary. I am tired. I'm exhausted. But I'm not. That is not necessarily distracting me. Okay, from my pathward. Doesn't blow me off of my pathway. Me just, oh, my emotional state. Like it's there. It's a thing. Okay, but I want to see this job done. I want to see the mission job done, and so I'm here on the job. I'm not here to sell something to support myself or any of that. If I can get supported, yeah, that's great. Uh, but ultimately, I don't have a viewpoint I'm trying to sell anyone. Like, I'm trying to give you the what my place in this is. I'm giving you the technical explanation of how the Schumann resonances and the atmospheric electromagnetics work, so that you don't start having an unreasonable expectation of what the Schumann resonances do and how they affect you. When there is also other things that are affecting you that people are not looking at. So my ultimate goal is to, is to help people to figure out how to deal with stuff. That's the best way that I can think that I can explain this, is that here trying to give people the true version, the true vision of what's happening here so that you can deal with this appropriately. And calling it the Schumann resonances and then not ever dealing with it properly, that just something about that bugs me. It's really, like, I don't know how to explain it better, but it bugs me in the sense that it's not the people doing this, it's that they've been told a fucking lie. If you didn't know going into it that there was a Schumann resonances or anything about Hertz or anything about the Earth's planetary power grid, the first thing you ever heard about this is 7.8 is Earth's natural frequency. That's where you stick, right? That's where you're stuck. That's where, like, people, if you come into this knowing nothing about it, the first one there gets the foundation. And it's just the way it is with humans. The first one there in the door gets the prime position, whether it's true or not, whether it's factual, it doesn't matter. Once it's in there, it takes so much more work to get it out because you need to have something else in there in its place, a system in its place to replace the facts that are faulty. So I guess, and to summarize it, like, my position in this is to give you a light onto your pathway. Okay, it's just, that's the best way to put it. I can't run the pathway for you. I'm not leading you down a pathway, but I am trying to provide a pure, clear light onto your pathway so you can see the difference between one and the other and see, hopefully, maybe see that you've been lied to, that you've been manipulated, and that they're really trying to, that from wherever the narrative came from, they're really actively trying to confuse you. That's kind of the best way to put it. I don't know of any other better way to put it, that some of the factoids or alleged facts that people are coming into this with are just way off. They're not supported in any literature anywhere, but they're things that people hold on to, and then they come up with all kinds of whack job gibberish from based on their understanding of the not true facts. They're not even facts. They're just some story that someone came up with and someone else held on to it, and then the two of them get together and claim it as a fact, and then there you go. That's your belief. That's your religion. That's your belief. That's your belief. Religion and belief. Yeah, that's how people get their belief, is by misunderstanding the facts and the data around it. Right? It's fine enough if you want to have whatever view of the Schumann resonances you have without depending on the research to back up your whack job theory. That's fine. You can have whatever you want, as long as you're not calling it science, as long as you're not calling it the actual true Schumann resonances data, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, your belief is your belief, whatever gets you through. However, my job to explain to you how the Schumann resonances work, how to read the data, how to read the meters and all of this stuff, and to know the differences between the very subtle whispering of the Schumann resonances versus the very loud yelling of all of the other electromagnetics that are around people, which are confused one for another. Okay. All right. So at this point, I think I've talked enough. It's an hour, 40 minutes into it. I started this somewhere around 4 o'clock, 4:15, I think it was. All right. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate this. The love and the supports, the comments. If you've got anything to say to me, say it in the comments. I'll do my best. Not every comment gets an answer back from me. Some just get a, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know, but whatever. It's a dialogue. I'm doing this because I'm supposed to be talking with people. So give me a comment, give me a chat in the conversation, and thank you for being here. I appreciate all the comments, the love, the support. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Namaste.